All right. Do I think this is working? I think that it might be. So normally what I do is I take all my kids' stuff and just go shoop, and try to get it out of the way. But you can see that it's like popped up over there and like over there. And it is what it is. So yes, I recognize that it's the top of the hour. And lately I have been going at 15 till or maybe even 30 minutes till. But this is just how it is. But for those of you who are on already, please let me know that all of the things are working. I hope they're working. It looks like the mic is picking up something, but I will wait for the chat to say hello. Like game guy or friend game guy said yes, it's all working. So welcome, friends. It is Wednesday, and as you will notice, I'm wearing something ridiculous because I'm helping out over at the school today, and apparently it's the day to wear something ridiculous. Sorry, that was my phone trying to tell me something was happening. So this week, this month, starting yesterday, is the kickoff for our No Look November. And folks, I remember the first time that I did this, it seemed really difficult, right? It seemed impossibly, it seemed like an insurmountable challenge to actually not look at analytics, right? I was like so obsessed with just checking, like, and I was addicted to the dopamine rush because in a strong growth situation, a strong growth curve, it feels really good to check analytics all the time because you get this positive reinforcement that things are going well, and you get that chemical in your brain that's like boom, and everything is boom good. But then when that doesn't work out, when you don't get that dopamine rush, when you look at your phone and you not only not get your dopamine, but you may even get like the opposite chemical. Is it cortisol? Is it, I don't know what it is exactly, but it just depresses you and leaves you down. And man, it's not hopeful. And so I think, was it last year? I think it was last year in November that we as a group decided to embark on this hashtag No Look November, because it's a play on No Shave November and so many of the other no whatevers in November. And I didn't think that I would be able to do it, right? I thought, okay, I'm so addicted to looking, and I need to look, right? Like every day I need to look, and I was like manufacturing all kinds of reasons why I had to look every single day. Like, oh, if I don't look on Wednesday, maybe my sites will explode. And then, oh, I will be in complete ignorance because I'm not checking, or maybe there will be some drama and I will miss out. And I had all this anxiety about it. And it turns out that I didn't make it through the whole month because I was migrating a site at the time, and part of it involved me having to get into analytics to verify that things were working. But I survived, and so we did sort of like, I would say, a modified no look June, where I didn't go cold turkey for the month. I think I reduced the times or the things that I could look for, but I'm back to November being as cold turkey as possible. And funny enough that it's also Thanksgiving in the US during November, and in the US, many families eat turkey. Har. I know, right? Awful jokes, but back to No Look November. I kicked it off for myself, and this is something you're welcome to do or not do. But I plan on spending the month of November talking about not looking at analytics. I'm tweeting about it for the first time with some success. I don't know what counts as success on Twitter, but I will personally report. I will personally report that even in the day and a half, and I didn't even check honestly on Halloween because hello, Halloween, when you have kids, that's like the day. But what I've already noticed, and I have noticed this before, that not looking analytics, not only am I freeing up that time that I normally would be doing this or looking at my computer, looking at maybe completely worthless, not useless stats, but I'm also freeing up my headspace. So instead of spending the day thinking about maybe the performance of what's going on, or like I'm sorry, I'm fidgeting with this Lego thing. I'm turning into my children. Instead of really spending the day thinking about the performance of a particular site, or how I'm going to fix something, or just kind of wallowing, right? Like, oh, like what what is happening, and how could it, all of the things. I feel like my headspace is actually more open to thinking about the 10,000-foot view of thinking about business globally, thinking about my long-term goals. And I think I spend a reasonable amount of time, I guess, thinking about these, but I just spending more. Like my headspace is just not caught up. Like I have freed up some emotional energy and some intellectual energy to think about other things that have to do with my online business or even my life. I'm not joking. You want to say, oh, like, no, look, November, like that's not a big deal. You just don't look at your stats for a week or a month or a day or whatever, and hem herm ha. But what I have discovered, and I am discovering and rediscovering every time I do this, that there are other side benefits. So another thing that I have noticed in the 2 days that I've been doing this is that I've had my phone in my hands a lot, maybe more than I would like. And I try to be really conscious as a person and as a parent to not have my phone in my hands so much because, one, I'm distracted. Two, I also think it's a symptom maybe of being maybe more stressed out or not necessarily exercising as much self-care as I normally would. So maybe I'm going to my phone, even if I'm not looking at analytics, to just zone out, to rest, to get some reprieve from the day. And I just have really noticed that my phone has been in my hand a lot, and I've been trying to get out of this, and it's sort of creeped back up. But since taking off the analytics app from my phone, I've noticed myself grabbing my phone and then be like, why do I have my phone in my hand? I have no real purpose to have my phone in my hand. I can't like actually swipe up and be like, oh, there's a little space there where that little icon used to be, and I'm not looking at. And like, not only did I remove it from the main thing, I actually uninstalled it from my phone. So to go and get it again, I have to actually go to Google Play and download it again. And that has honestly been enough to keep me from mindlessly wasting time, and also time that I could be interacting with another human or doing something like cleaning my messy house. And I just that's just another side benefit of doing this analytics break for me. I have talked to many people in the last couple of days since I started talking about this, that uh, they think that they couldn't do it, right? That they think, oh, I'm not mentally tough enough. Many people have said that they're just not strong enough to look at analytics. And I think, and you can tell that I'm spending a lot of time with my kids lately because I do this. Like, let's think. Um, you are mentally tough enough to uh, get to where you are in life. To many of you are raising kids, relationships, jobs, international travel, dealing with finances. I mean, all of the stress of the day. And folks are saying, I'm not mentally tough enough to not look at analytics for a day, even a day. And for me, it just is a sign that folks aren't ready, that they honestly don't want to not look. Like, it's fun to look, right? When things are like going up. So I can totally understand the addiction to looking when things are good. But the problem is that it wastes a ton of time. And when analytics are not going in the right direction, it has the opposite impact on us. I don't think that we talk enough about mental health in this space. I don't think that we network and communityify ourselves well enough. And I think that it makes a difference in people's happiness and then ability to weather some really challenging times and to pivot and deal with discomfort. And there's a heck of a lot of discomfort going on right now. This is a make or break period for many of us. I'm going to wrap myself up in this. It includes me, right? There's so many things happening right now. And this is a pivot time. It may be a time for us to change strategies or to change methods for specifically the things that we are doing or a time for learning. But this is a time when it's more important than ever to figure out ways to mentally handle the load of what it is that we're taking on. And not only do you have the mental load of what Google is doing or what this affiliate network is doing, but we also have all of the things happening in our lives that don't relate to this. Kids, jobs. Many of us have jobs, sometimes more than one job. Um, Other family members, personal relationships, finances, like all of the things. So for me, No Look November is about grabbing some headspace back for me. This is a self-care moment. It is not just an attention grab or like, oh, I need to do something to get followers. For me, this is a self-care effort. Like some people might exercise or drink water or try to improve some other aspect of their life. Listening to podcasts, buying a course, like taking an analytics break is honestly a self-care moment, which is why I also encourage many people to come along with me and do it with me. Because one, it helps me remain accountable and stay on task. And two, I've personally seen the benefits of it. So I'm not selling you anything, not asking you to do anything other than take some time to consider, to think about how looking at analytics a lot or not very much, how that impacts your life, and then having discussions about it. Anyway, that is like an almost 15-minute rant about why it is that I am doing No Look November. And I'm going to go to the chat now and say hi to folks that have suffered through that with me. Oh, I see Josh coming on. He says he's going to be late today. That is all right. You can catch us on the replay. And if you are here on the replay, feel free to put a comment down below and just let us know that you were here and that you caught some of it and how you are doing. I always love to see these comments and just know that that people were around. Also, if you're lurking and working today, feel free to drop that in the chat as well. You don't have to participate, although the stream is always better when people are active in the chat because I just enjoy talking to you. And that is truly the purpose of this time. The purpose of this time is not a teaching moment, although sometimes there is learnable nuggets, tidbits, and things. And feel free to ask questions. But in general, we're here to interact and make connections and check in. How are you doing? I really would like to know. Also saying hello to Soren, who's giving me a thumbs up about my dog shirt. I found this at like a secondhand store, and it was made by a company that was like youlookugly.com or something. And I forget what it was called. They had a really neat tag that went with it. I should have saved it. But their goal was to make like the ugliest shirts possible. And they're so ugly, they're hilarious. Like this one, I love this one. Like I love wearing it because people, when you walk around in the grocery store and you see the double take, like somebody looks and then they're like that just makes my day right there. There is Maeve and Nataraj and Build a niche site, he says. He said he actually got an alert. I said, I know. I saw it on my phone. It came out too. He said, so I actually came to your hometown and didn't say hi. I did not know that I was in your hometown. Folks, if I know where you are, and this is not a call for you to put your address into the chat or any other identifying information, but I have often thought it would be fun to, when I do travel, to do meetups. I just, I'm an introvert with anxiety problems about meeting new people, and I'm working on it. I swear. Let's see. Game Guy's working on his income report that we are looking forward to hearing and seeing. There's Benji's dad, our friend Chris. Thanks for dropping into the chat. November is right. NaNoWriMo is also a fun. It's the writers of the internet who get together and make an effort to write a certain amount. Like, is the goal to write a whole book in the month of November? I forget what it is, but I've always wanted to participate in it because I think it would be really awesome. There is Adrian. I feel like I haven't seen you in the chat in a long time, Adrian. I honestly don't know how things are going for you. So feel free to enlighten me. I'd love to see it. Jay-Z said, is that a Christmas dog jacket? Technically, I think it would count as a long sleeve shirt. It would be cool if it was a jacket, but I have to cover it up when I go outside. Soren says that on Saturday, the kids took a complete screen blackout from 5 p.m. and the rest of the day, and it was good, but a little unsettling. Please tell me um, why it was unsettling. Because you had to actually interact with each other? Ooh, oh my gosh. Benji's dad says, me no likey thinking. Too bad that is going to be part of your day. Karen W says that she made it live, and I say welcome. If you are here and you're not normally here, or this is your first time, or you have questions, feel free to throw them out there. This is not going to be a full hour stream. This is me just doing the best that I can with what I have, and here it is. What I was doing, honestly, right before I was going on the stream was frantically making a kid's lunch because we didn't have time to do it this morning. And so when I'm going to rock my Christmas sweater when I walk my kids' school lunch over to them. Zach says, my no look November lasted until 12:02 a.m. on the 1st. That's twice as long as I made it last year. Well, we always love to award progress. And that, my friend, does count as discernible progress. But really, Eric's dropping in. What's going on? And Leona popping by to say hi. I say, hey, friends, if you're just dropping in, let us know how you are. What's been going on? How are you surviving the Google lately? Because the Google is doing many interesting things. There's been discussion in the last couple of days about there being a rollback. I'm honestly not paying that close of attention to it because I'm not looking at analytics. And so like going to analytics to check to see if I got the benefit of a rollback or if the rollback continued to do more bad to, throwing bad after bad, then I don't know. Jay-Z says, Bella says, hi, we are listening and rapping in LOL dot. Hello, Bella, if you are still watching and listening. I know that it's fun for you when somebody on the YouTube says hi to you. Your dad is awesome. I did say that. Zach says, come to Chicago. The only time I've ever visited Chicago is through the airport, but I've heard many good things about Chicago and would love to come check it out. Eric says that he currently has shiny object syndrome. I think that is something that is common for many of us who consider ourselves to be entrepreneurs. I have a really hard time accepting or like wearing the entrepreneur hat because I've never really thought about niche websites as like an entrepreneurship, and that is something that I've been working on maybe even in the last year to 18 months, thinking about niche websites more as businesses. And entrepreneurs start businesses. They don't just create products. They don't just work small things out of the garage. Like they actually are starting things and growing things. And I think that the definition, as we would generally think of entrepreneur, like that fits me, but I have a hard time putting on the hat because it's not necessarily the way I have perceived entrepreneurship happen in the past. But as entrepreneurs, many of us are drawn to this because we do have ideas and we are willing to take an idea and run with it, whereas most people just wouldn't. They would just continue to do the thing that they normally do because that's where the paycheck comes from. But the superpower that is coming up with ideas and acting on them is also a weakness, because once you have an idea and start to act on it, you need to stop having ideas and acting on them. And how do you turn off your superpower? It's really tough. So I totally get it. Eric says, he says, and a message about our posture when working long, hard hours in front of a computer. He says, I have some painful hips now, so try to get up every once in a while and move. I concur with that wholly and entirely. And I find that not only does getting up and moving around help my headspace and my brain, it also makes me more productive, actually, if I step away from the computer for a bit. And my eye doctor says that it's really important to take a break and do something else every now and again, even every hour, get away from the computer. Build a Niche Site says that he hasn't been impacted by the Google much, which is awesome. I'm happy to hear that. His traffic is slightly down, but sales conversions are up. So glad to hear that. That's positive. Dee is here. Sorry she's late. I said, don't mind. It's a quick check-in and we're just doing our thing. Soren says that not constantly having his phone in his hand feels strange and gets obvious how addicted that he really is. Yes, that is a weird feeling, but I think it's good to get it out of our hands and then see what other life may happen when you're not holding on to your phone. Margaret, what's going on? Just popping in now. We have been coming onto the stream at all sorts of time around the same time. So it's not, so you should not feel bad about not getting here right when we get started because it's not really, it's sort of been a moving target lately. Benji's dad says that everything becomes a job if you do it long enough. Us entrepreneurs like to keep our superpowers fresh. Fair enough. Fair enough. Soren says that the Google has slashed most of his sites. I feel like that is sadly not uncommon. And I definitely have experienced the pain of this and continuing to experience the pain of this. And I've been paying attention a bit to it, like starting to pay attention to more about what people are having to say about what the update, especially the most recent one in October, is targeting, and why it is that so many um, niche site entrepreneurs have been hit by this. And it's hard for me to accept some of this because people say, oh, if you are Google hammered sites that were purposefully trying to get traffic. And the thing that bugs me about this is that I think almost every, not every site, but almost every site on the internet is a site that is trying to get traffic in some way. And that bothers me because then they say, oh, like you shouldn't actively create content to try to get traffic. But that's the purpose basically of having a website. So, getting more specific about what it is that people are doing that tries to attract traffic and like pinpointing those things is more the goal as they continue to dig into this because just going around and trying to say, oh, like I'm not, trying to create something without the goal of having somebody look at it. That's not real. That's not real. That's not realistic. Niche Site Dojo, what's going on? Thanks for dropping in. Good to see you. Eric says that you mentioned that we could say where we live. You are always welcome to say where you live. I just don't recommend that you post your address and zip code and the security code to your house or garage so we can get the key and then come in to visit. But Eric's in Switzerland, and I think that it would be great to visit Switzerland. I've like taken a train through it, but never actually stopped and would love to one day. Zach says that his site lost traffic in the spam update, but rankings were unchanged. Just lots more YouTube videos in the search. So that is something that a lot of folks are seeing. And there's a lot of questions about whether or not that is going to be something that will continue, because as far as a user experience go, that may or may not be something good. Like there's the videos tab in the Google search thing, and that's where most of us, I think, expect videos to go. So if I want a video, I would try to go to the videos tab, but Google is inserting those videos into above the fold whenever it doesn't think that there's necessarily an article that addresses the topic very well. And I end up scrolling. Like I don't want to watch a video. It's not helpful. I don't necessarily, and maybe it's just that I'm old, but I don't like the videos, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. D says, and mother's maiden name. Yes. Well, if you could include that and also your tax ID number and date of birth, like those things would be really helpful, and it would be good to know so that we could not take advantage of anything. Wesley says that he recently sold one of his sites and migrating it now. Well, friend, congratulations. That is always something, I don't say always, but generally can be quite the achievement, no matter at what level the site is, whether it's a 3-figure sale, a 4-figure sale, even a 5-figure sale. Like you worked on a project and then you're setting it free for someone else to take over. And there's many feels about that. So congratulations. I hope it's something that that you made money on, I hope. But even if it isn't, it can feel good to send that project off into the ether and have someone else take it over. I am curious, though, about how the market will respond in the future to the bounciness of 2022. That's me checking the year. Is it still 2022? How could it possibly still be 2022? But how that will play out as far as multiples, as far as the inventory, so how many sites are actually available for sale, because many folks are making the decision to dump sites because they for many reasons, right? Maybe this is a good time to get the cash out. Maybe this is a good time to unload sites that just aren't performing, or that got hit and are no longer valuable, or it's just time to clean up. Uh, and or maybe people are no longer thinking of them as solid of an investment as they may have previously. I mean, there's just it felt like the multiples were on like this trajectory where they would just continue to go up and up and up and up and up. And now you have to wonder how is that going to play out. I think it's going to be much more rare to come across a site that hasn't been impacted in some way. It used to be that the gold standard was the most valuable sites were ones that had never been touched or brushed with an update at all. And those are going to be much harder to come across. So I do think it is worth watching and paying attention to, especially as those of us who have projects that are maturing get ready to move forward with trying to capitalize on the value of those assets. Wesley says that it was a $300,000 sale. So that sounds awesome, right? I mean, 300 grand is nothing to shake a stick at. But then other parts of me, wonder how much is invested in this and how much was earned out of it. So folks, like, let's say somebody spent $250,000 on a site and held it for not very long, or didn't actually make money from it and then sold it for 300,000. I mean, it's a big number, but is it like as awesome? I mean, there's a lot of zeros. I love the zeros. But there's definitely, I'm curious. I'm definitely curious. Wesley says, it says, like Amelia picked up at Club 22, looking to grow a real brand with his new project. Yeah, that's what a lot of the folks who came back from both that conference and the Mediavine Premier Pro conference, I feel we get into our little bubble here and we forget, I don't want to say forget, or don't necessarily realize that the world of niche site publishers, operators, is quite large. And there are a lot of folks that don't look at YouTube at all, that don't really know that much about SEO and don't live or die by analytics. And they are doing just fine, or even better than fine, better than many of us, I would say. And so it was sort of I would say a kick in the pants, but kind of like it was a good perspective thing to remember that there are other ways of going about this. And if this particular way isn't like producing fruit, that there are other ways to go about this. Zach says that a lot of the multiples are being pulled up by private equity at the high end. As soon as VC firms started laying people off, I assume multiples wouldn't stay up for long. Potentially. Jay Paul, what's going on? Dropping in. I'm sorry that today is not going to be a long stream. I'm just getting here and doing what I can. Benji's dad says, that's Chris, says all industries have ups and downs. That is a good point. We've been talking about stepping back and looking at the view of what's going on over a longer term versus maybe in the last year or even 2 years. He said, for a long time, niche sites were in a massive bull run, and now it's a buyer's market. Same thing with real estate or stocks. He said he thinks that niche sites tend to lag behind the rest of the world's economics. Dee says, what? They're not doing better than us if they missed out on Wednesday's live chat. Most of them had none of them, I will just say none of them knew who I was. So much for celebrity, right? Eric says, with his current shiny object syndrome, he was thinking about managing 4 to 6 niche sites. After 1 to 2 years, he would take the most promising one to the next level and making it a brand. That is not a bad way to go about it. People have been talking about what the 80-20 rule. I think that was John Dykstra. Was it John Dykstra? No, it was Mushfiq and the website flip on Twitter. He was talking about the 80-20 rule. So if you and that would increase the odds that one of those projects would take off versus spending all of your time in one project and not really knowing for sure one way or another whether it would take off, because not every website takes off. I mean, you might do all the work you think, and and you've done the research on the niche, and you invested in content, and you did all the things, and sometimes they just don't go. So if you're working on a couple of them at a time, it increases the odds that one of them, goes, and then you can invest your money into that one. Dee says, did you not say, do you not know who I am? There were no opportunities for me to say, don't you know who I did not say that. Not a single time. He says, she says, if you played the harmonica, I bet they would know who you are. Yeah, my kids like made off with the harmonica, and I've not seen it again. Maybe that's for Derek's benefit if he's catching it. Wesley says that he scaled down from 100 posts per month to around 30 for this brand that he's building. John said he was talking about it in John Dykstra's newsletter. That's probably why I've heard it, because I reread his newsletter a couple of times in the last few days. Eric says that it's difficult to manage more than 3 sites, and it is. It's difficult to manage more than one at a time. Truly, truly it is. Folks, I'm going to have to sneak out. I'm afraid. I'm looking at the time and looking at my phone, and there is a call for me to be present and participate. I do want to just let you know that No Look November will be continuing on for the entire month of November. And I'm going to do my best in the next week to not get into analytics. That includes Google Search Console. It also includes my various income reporting dashboards, because I just need a break. So thank you so much for dropping in live or on the replay. I look forward to speaking with you next week on Wednesday. All right. Take care, everybody.